Guys, now number one in the sticks lineup, the Finesse stick. This is a 7'6" medium light power. Now you're probably asking, why would we develop a 7'6" medium light? Isn't that a really light rod? Could it almost secondary as a trout rod? It can, but in bass fishing we have some very finesse techniques when things get difficult, from weightless little tiny wacky worms up to Ned rigging like I happen to have on here today, spy baiting, drop shot. These are all finesse techniques. And when it came to the development of the Finesse stick, there was a lot of spinning rods that were out there, and we all got used to fishing these fast action, and we're like, geez, it doesn't feel comfortable fishing those lighter lines on the rods that currently exist. So when it came to the number one in our lineup, we wanted to create a rod with some cush to it. That's a medium light power with a moderate fast tip. That means a lot more cushion in the tip, which gives me the comfort knowing I can fish 6, even 4-pound line if I want to. If you ask any of your bass fishing buddies, you go out there and you say, hey, what's the lightest line you fish? I bet you it's 8-pound test, and that's going to be on our next one up, and I'm going to get into that. The Finesse stick, I always suggest running 6-pound, even though a lot of my buddies run 4, and sometimes I'll run 4 on float and fly, but if you're a beginner, I wouldn't suggest 4. Definitely fish that 6-pound. With this rod, you have that added security knowing you have that softer tip and that 7'6". Why have a lot of people not built a 7'6" medium light rod? They're fragile. You get really skinny, thin rod, but this is a composite rod. We have proprietary blanks in these 2 sticks, and with carbon nano mesh, and what that means is they're reinforced, so they actually are very strong. The lifting power of this rod right here is almost 10 pounds. I'm not saying boat flip a 10-pounder on the number one because you're using 6-pound line, but this is a very light sensitive setup, and it's very risky for rod companies to build something that light. They don't want to risk it. They would rather give you a 2x4 that's not going to break, and they don't have to worry about that. But here at Sticks, we're fishermen. We care about the fishermen. So this was really critical that we made a feather light, super sensitive rod that can be paired up with light line, that can fish the lightest techniques out there and cast them a country mile. The development of this rod took quite a long time, but boy, this sucker is perfection. Every one of these Sticks rods comes with Fuji O guides. This is Fuji's more durable guide. That's what we wanted. We didn't want something super fragile. And every one of these rods comes with a nice rod glove that you can slip over there, be fancy, toss it in the car a little bit easier.